So there I was, princess in one hand, staff in the other, staring at a dragon. I'm just thinking, how did I end up here?
I think you took the train, didn't you?
Yeah, I took the train.
Hey, well, welcome back to the Wizard's Tower.
Welcome back to the Wizard's Tower. So dumb.
The Wizard's Tower!
Hey, B man.
Yeah, good, dude. I've been good. I mean, we live together, so
Yeah, that
you
is
know
true.
how I've been.
That is true. But there were like 2 minutes there where you went into your room and you were like getting changed into your wizard's outfit, and I feel like it's been ages since I've seen you. I don't know.
You're just wondering how I was for those 2
Yeah, I was
minutes?
just like, I
was actually getting frustrated because this thing is a pain in the ass to get into. I've put it on backwards like so many times.
I don't know how.
I don't know. It's because it's all one thing. There's like a couple of layers to it. I don't know. It's an effort.
Yeah.
If only there was some sort of spell that I could just...
Yeah, that would be cool.
You know what I mean?
That would be cool. But unfortunately, there isn't.
Have you heard about the wizard toilet spell? Apparently in Harry Potter?
No?
You haven't heard about this? Apparently wizards in Harry Potter don't use the bathroom.
What?
Yeah. Well, they use the bathroom, but not for shitting.
Accio shit.
Accio shit. Legit. I think there's like a spell that they use to get rid of the shit in their stomach.
Oh my God.
I think. This might be some bullshit.
Well, you know, it's funny. I feel like that would be so bad and so dangerous for your body to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
you could rip something out.
I remember, I can't remember who was telling me, a friend of mine, they knew someone or it was a story that they heard, but one of their friends or whatever had like a stoma, which is like where they take like a piece of like your intestine out, and rather than pooping, you poop into like a bag before it gets to your, you know?
Yeah.
And
they do that for whiz as well.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, this person had it for like a few months, and I guess it didn't need to be permanent. And when they took it out, they like pooped for the first time in months, and they said it was just so sensitive down there. Like nothing had passed down there for months.
The actual anus was sensitive.
Yeah, I feel like this is a weird topic.
It's a weird topic, but that is interesting.
Yeah.
So do you reckon Harry Potter wizards' buttholes are...
They probably
buttholes.
haven't been used for so long they've sealed up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Harry Potter doesn't have a butthole.
Confirmed.
Harry Potter
I don't know if
doesn't
this is
have a
legit
butthole.
though, because I feel like
Harry must not poop at school.
I feel like this is legit though. I've heard it before.
Yeah.
That they don't shit because they use them as transportation.
Yeah, true.
You know
true.
what I mean? I don't know if that confirms it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever seen someone in the Harry Potter books or they've got toilets there?
They do
They
have
have
the
two toilets
bathrooms,
there.
so I feel like that's...
Yeah, that confirms it. Well, this might be all bullshit, but... Anyway, let's get into our first segment.
Tales of Yonder!
All right, so what's the tale?
So I wanted
today?
to talk about how we got this wizard's tower.
Yes, the journey that we went on to grab it.
On. Because we literally went on a journey to come here.
After film school finished,
Which was ended 2021.
Yeah, your like lease had ended at like your student accommodation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, why don't you like live with me for a few months?
Yeah. We said March. And that was January where we
at my parents' place.
Yeah.
Oh, you live with my parents for like 3-4 months while we find a place, and then we'll move out together. And a year and a half later, we finally managed to find a place and left.
I was there. We were meant to move out in March 2022. I think we left in like August 2023 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a long time that we were still there.
I loved it. I didn't feel like I was... I don't know. I feel like maybe after a year, I kind of felt like I was overstaying my welcome, but even still, it was never any moment where your parents were like, "Are you gonna fuck off yet?" I always felt
very nice and
home away from
understanding.
home sort of situation.
Yeah, they are good, but I did feel bad for them towards the end. I felt bad because I finished my apprenticeship in like 2019 or end of 2019, and I was like, all right, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to move
and
out.
start doing stuff.
And then like COVID happened.
Yeah,
And I was like,
true.
okay, I guess I'll stay another year. And then I was like, oh, now I want to go to film school. So I was like, oh, I'll stay at home while I do film school. And then I was like, all right, well, Mitch will move in here,
is
and
that
then we'll
cool?
stay at home for another year, and then we'll move out. And it
Yeah.
ended up just being so long. And I was like, fuck, it was like 4 years of my life. I was like, I need to move out. I need to go somewhere.
And I moved, like I was living at home before I went to film school. And then I moved in with, and I was out of home for like a year. And then I moved into your place with your family. I felt like there's a bit of me being like, kind of feels like a step backwards where I'm like, you know, your mum's cooking us dinner for us. Like, you know,
lasagna tonight.
Yeah, and, like you didn't have to worry. Like I felt like it was a bit of a step backwards in my development as an adult.
Honestly, yeah.
But yeah, then we moved out, and you sort of did all the admin of that. I kind of just filled out the forms and stuff. So
That's true. That is true.
I never saw how annoying it was, but we started applying for houses.
Yeah.
And then you were like, we should put down as saying that we're a couple. And I was like, I thought we already were.
Yeah.
We had to have the talk.
Because my thoughts behind it was, you know, two 25-year-old dudes that, you know, for all they know, like, you know, we're both single or wwhatever, like that they're just not going to let us go like, oh, two bloody bachelors or whatever.
Bachelors
you know. So I thought, you know, it would be a lot easier for us in the application process in the middle of a Wizards Tower housing crisis as well.
Yeah. Tower crisis.
A
if you
tower
will.
crisis. Yeah. That we get down as a couple because that'll just put us above every other applicant that is two individuals.
Singles, it gave us the edge.
Yeah.
And as soon as we did that, second house we applied
Literally
for?
the second house.
Second
we applied
tower,
for.
sorry.
Yeah. What am I talking about?
It's like a second home.
Yeah. Well, we applied for like 10 houses, and each real estate makes you fill out a separate form. You think you fill out the form once and you're like, okay, I've done the form. I can just apply to houses. And then you apply to like Ray White, and Ray White's like, oh, you need to write 500 words about yourself. What are your aspirations? What are your dreams? And then like Kay and Burton or whatever it's called is like, oh, we need 7 years of employment history. Like they're all different. With the whole couple thing, I remember we put it down. I didn't really think that much of it after that. And then one day I get a call and I pick it up, and it's a real estate. And they're like, oh, hi, is this Jackson speaking? I was like, yeah, this is Jackson. They're like, oh, you got the house. Like, congratulations.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so good. Like, which one is it? And they told us which one. And I was like, oh, cool. And they're like, oh, so what does your wife think of the property? And immediately I was like,
Wife?
And then like Jimmy Neutron brain blast,
Yeah,
like I saw all of the puzzle pieces and I was just instantly like, oh, she loves it.
She
loves the place.
Yeah,
she's
thrilled.
Yeah, she's like, oh, so do you want to like, when are you going to move in? Do you want to move in next week? Mind you, we're still in Brisbane.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my wife's in the shower at the moment. I'll just
Let me talk to her first.
Let me talk to her, and I'll get back to you. Hang up, and then obviously told you the news that we got the house. Rent was over what we said we would want to pay, and the house is at the very top end of the market for that rent. Like it definitely. I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch paying this much.
But and we hadn't even seen the house yet. We didn't even physically go see it. We got some friends to go do it for us, but we hadn't actually physically seen it yet.
Yeah.
So we had no real idea what we were getting ourselves into. And then we got here, we saw it. Any house looks terrible, bare bones. Really.
Yeah, this one was especially bad.
This one,
I
the
feel
paint on,
there's like one coat of paint on some of the doors. It was clearly like a very quick renovation.
Yeah.
to get someone
Bathrooms
in.
looked really nice though. So I don't know.
My shower leaks.
Yeah, your shower does leak.
The
My
owner
shower's
did come
pretty
in
good.
and he was like, oh, does the shower leak? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, I put the seal on the door on backwards, but it's not a problem, is it? I'm like, well, the shower leaks,
does
so
leak.
it's kind of a problem. And he's like, oh, just shut the door a bit more, you'll be right. And I was like,
Yeah, fair.
it's a small price to pay. I was like, it's all good. I don't mind.
And we signed him for another year and he didn't up our rent, so let's go.
He's actually a mad dog. I actually really love that guy.
That's
but
good.
so I call the real estate back and I'm like, yeah, we'll take it when we decide, all right, let's just do it, bite the bullet. And she's like, oh, great. So Michelle's happy with the house? And I was like, yeah, Michelle loves it. Michelle loves it. And
I did.
Clearly,
you went lying.
clearly just read your name wrong.
Just, yeah.
So they actually thought they think we're a straight couple.
Straight couple, not
Yeah.
a gay couple,
So
which still worked in our favor.
hey, it worked. Yeah,
We got
exactly.
the place, and
We just sleep in separate beds. And
Yeah,
have
exactly.
separate
That's
rooms.
normal. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
totally.
live separate lives.
Yeah.
And a very, very open relationship.
Yeah,
about
yeah,
as
that's
open as you can get.
Almost like we're not in one
Yeah.
at all, you know. But we share a house.
The Academy!
We should also talk about
What?
We should.
Are you casting a spell? What is this?
But we should also talk about what we've learned. So we should submit what we have learned from Brisbane to Melbourne into the academy.
Yes.
And talk about the differences between the two cities that we have lived at for a year. Or I've lived at a year each.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. One thing I've learned from coming from Brisbane to Melbourne is that somehow all of the hand towels in the kitchen somehow go from being hung on the rack over the oven where I put them, and they all kind of just end up scrunched up on the kitchen bench. But I don't know how that happens. There must be a goblin or something in here, because I'm sure I hung them up to dry where they should be hung up.
In Brisbane, I had a spell that folded the things out.
That was my mum.
Oh yeah.
That was the spell was my mum would do that.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I'm trying to get better.
That's the biggest thing I've learned, I
I'm
think.
trying to get better.
Tea towels just seem to be.
I meant more about the. No, it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
actually,
It doesn't
actually,
matter.
that reminds me. The other day, Mitch
Oh, fuck's
Mitch
sake.
comes to me in the kitchen and he's like, "Oh, dude, we only have 3 plates," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "We definitely have 4 plates."
And we have 4 of everything else. I'm like, look, see, we've got 4 bowls, 4 little plates, but the dinner plates, there's only 3. And I'm like, where's the 4th plate gone? There's
You didn't say where's the 4th plate. You said, no, we only ever had 3 plates. We must have, because one's missing. We must have had only 3 plates ever.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, maybe it's in my office or something. I was like, yeah, I bet it is. And I walk in there, I'm like, shit, it's not. That means I've lost it. I'm like, fuck. I looked in my bedroom, not there. And then I'm like, oh. And then I looked in the fridge and I had like mince on it, like thawing out.
Yeah, you had.
And I was like, I literally did that this morning and I forgot that that's where the plate
And
was.
first bit of logic was we must only have bought 3 plates. The 4th one never existed.
So dumb.
Cast a spell of forgetful.
Fucking idiot.
That was so funny.
My instant thought just straight away, oh, I must only have 3. There was no like, maybe someone's got it, maybe not.
And thank God it's nearly taken you 12 months to buy a water bottle. But up
Yeah.
until that point, you would use every single coffee cup that we had in the house.
You're shit to live with too, mate.
No, you're so good to live with. Like we get along so well, and we just like everything's good. It's like the only thing I have to complain about
that's
is
true.
like
Just
the
those
tea
like little
towels don't
things
get
that
put
aren't even
away.
anything, but like
Yeah.
are still something.
There's
Yeah.
crumbs on the toaster.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Or you
I'm
use
trying to,
all 4
and the other
coffee
thing, I'm
cups.
trying to think of something to get back at you for. Nothing. Like, I'm like, fuck. Well, you bloody
fucking buy furniture without asking me.
yeah, there it is. Which I liked. And then I was actually, that's a good point. Because when we first moved in here, I went back home, which is like I live like 3 hours. Well, like when I grew up, I lived about 3 hours from Melbourne. So I drive back home to get my mattress and to like get a few things to come back up to Melbourne. And while I was gone, the entire house was furnished because Jackson went out and bought a heap of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was sort of at home and I was a little bit like, oh, it would have been nice to do it together. I was a little bit annoyed.
Yeah.
But everything you bought, I liked and was like, well, I would have got that if I was with him anyway.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like annoyed, but I was also like happy, but I was also like, would have been good to do that together.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of. We haven't really had like a fight or like well, we have one disagreement.
We've had one fight.
One disagreement now.
I think in the how long we know each other, like 3 or 4 years.
4 years now, yeah. Which is crazy. to
We
think.
had our first fight
Yeah.
probably like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. And it was about this podcast, which is so funny to think. It's so dumb looking back at because I don't do well in conflict. I have to like get up and leave.
Yeah.
So we were arguing about what the podcast, like in my mind, when you said Wizard's Tower, I thought we'd be both wearing Wizard's hats. That's the extent of us dressing up. It was
like you just throw on like
throw on a robe,
little
like just.
blanket or
I didn't
something,
even
you
think
know?
I'd have to buy like anything. I just thought like buy a Wizard's hat, make it look pretty cheap, and then in your mind you're thinking, what we're wearing now.
Well, yeah.
Full. And
Wizards
guess who
outfits.
won the argument?
I'll let you guys decide.
But then I come round to it. I was against it, and then I come round to it.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't even it was an argument, but I think I was more on the side of it was more of a creative disagreement because I wasn't sure the vision wasn't there for me.
Yeah,
And then once you sort of
yeah.
explained it all out, I think I got there.
Yeah, I guess the main
did,
the
yeah.
main thing for the resolution was just like this is just our lounge room.
Yeah.
This isn't exactly
Yeah.
Wizards Tower-esque, so
Exactly right.
you know, rather than buying like $5,000 worth of props and making our lounge room look like a fucking
Yeah.
set,
Let's just make ourselves look like wizards.
let's just make ourselves wizards.
which I fully agree with.
and it's kind of
it worked out.
hilarious that
Yeah.
we're just having a very normal conversation. Both
Full
dressed
wizard,
as
full wizards. It is funny. I was against it, and then I come around to it because I didn't like the idea of like it just seemed like a lot. But then I thought about like other podcasts that we watch, and it's like I feel like it's not that a lot. It's not much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was just a bit worried that it would come off a bit cringe, but as soon as I put it on and sat in front of the camera, I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope anyway.
Yeah. Well,
The comments
see.
just cringe shit,
Oh,
fucking
it's
cringe,
fucking
bro.
dumb.
What the fuck?
What the hell?
But yeah, that was our first like disagreement. Normally with like creative stuff, we're pretty sort of
Yeah.
on the same page. But that was our first like disagreement.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah.
podcast was nearly off. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know if we
that's
can't
it.
get past
We
this.
can't get past wearing wizards outfits.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And we haven't argued since.
No.
So
No. Okay, is that what you're gonna submit to the academy?
that's
should
what
hang
I
up
learned. Yeah, that's what I've learned.
Fair enough. I want to submit that people are rude down here
Yeah.
compared to Brisbane and Queensland.
So much ruder.
I notice it at work. I notice it when I'm driving. I notice it walking past people on the street.
I noticed it at the dog park.
notice that the dogs are rude.
The dogs are significantly
They are actually
ruder.
rude.
Yeah.
No, you were spot on. Yeah, I was taking
Yeah.
the piss, but no, you're right.
Frank had like this little community. My dog Frank had this little, not me, not
Calls himself
I have a
Frank.
child. Like Frank had this little community at this local dog park I used to go to in Brisbane. Everyone loved Frank. All the dogs loved Frank. I never had any issues in the year I
Like
was
his
there.
father, a little bit of a celebrity.
Frank was a celebrity.
He's a bit of a dog influencer. to an
People
extent.
would like call out across the street. That's not even a joke. People like, oh, Frank, like there's Frank. Like I love
I'm here
Frank.
too.
A kid, this super lovely kid, even like made a poster because he met Frank once at the park. Made a poster, put it on the tree at the park, and was like, "Oh, like where's like wanting to
Yeah.
play with Frank again? Like I'll be here like Wednesday, blah blah blah."
It was really cute.
It was cute. And then come down here, he got bitten the first day I took him to the
Messed
park,
up.
and since then every dog has been mean to him.
Yeah.
and it sucks.
It
Poor
does.
guy.
I don't think he's. I've been to the dog park a few times with you, but I don't think I've seen dogs that are his size either. They're all very big dogs.
Yeah, there's not
Maybe
too
there's like
many.
a small dog park somewhere.
Yeah, but all the small dog owners are rude.
Yeah.
The owners are rude.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
You
good
just can't
point.
win.
Yeah, dogs are nice. Owners are rude.
Yeah,
owners
yeah.
are nice. Dogs are rude.
There's a few nice dogs that do play with Frank now, and
Yeah.
I figured out the time to go there.
That's good.
But it was a big change for sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, what's
Yeah.
your experience?
I think we've talked about before driving. You wave at someone. Like the streets can be pretty narrow and there's cars parked on each side. So you have to sort of give way to a car coming.
Yeah.
You wave, no wave back. I've actually been getting a few more since I've sort of noticed it. I'm like starting to look for it. And now I'm like, I'm not going to wave until they wave.
Yeah.
But then I feel like everyone's thinking that. So now no one waves.
Yeah.
But few waves. Not getting waves is kind of annoying.
People-
Saying g'day to people on the street and they just sort of like walk past you.
Yeah, no one says g'day down here.
Just the energy at the supermarket I work at compared to the supermarket I worked at in Brisbane. Everyone seems a bit more rat racy. It's a bit more intense. In
Yeah.
Brisbane, it was very like, yeah, we'll see how we go. Oh, yeah, cool. I had just go tonight. Yeah, we got it done. Oh, we didn't get it done. Everyone's very like chill, but didn't mean like anyone worked less hard.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah, it was really interesting.
It's just a lot friendlier, I guess. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, having a beach near you, that's actually good.
Probably,
Everyone's just
honestly. This
happier.
concrete
It
jungles.
is called the Sunshine State for
Yeah.
a reason.
Yeah.
Everyone is a lot happier in Brisbane.
Speaking of people and them sucking, I thought we can move on to the next
So, what?
segment. That's a weird segue.
Who's sucking? What?
Anyway, I got this new segment because people have been doing some weird stuff at work. And this new segment's called
Uncommon comedy.
So So while working at the supermarket, I've been seeing some weird people do some weird things.
Okay. Exposing themselves?
Worse. Nah. Stacking the milk, and our supermarket you stack the milk from behind, which is really good. I think my old supermarket, anyway, won't get into that. It's a pain in the ass. I can look out and see the customers from above the milk, sort of like peeping on everyone. This one customer is in the dairy aisle and he's walking down and he's opening the door, looking in it, and then just walking away with the door wide open. I was watching him do it and I was like, nah, he didn't mean to. Like, that's just, he did it 4 times.
Oh my God.
I just kept watching, open there, looking at what he needed, wasn't there. And I was like, and he went to go, and then he doesn't close it and then walks off, does it again. I'm watching him do it. And then I went out and I closed all the doors because that's what you meant to do.
Yeah.
When a door's open, you don't need it open anymore. You close it.
Interesting. Yes. Interesting theory.
He did it so many times. I could not believe it. So that was one thing that I saw. The second thing I saw was just straight up putting other people in harm's way. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. This old lady, there was like a wet, the service guys just wiped up this bill that I did.
Yeah.
And there was a wet floor sign there and the floor was very wet.
Yeah.
Very slippery.
Okay. Yep.
I'm like sort of walking past it. People are aware of it. This old lady's pushing her trolley, sees the wet floor sign, walks over to it, picks it up, closes it, moves it out of the way, and then just walks straight through.
What?
And I'm watching it like, dude, there's a reason. That's the reason why the sign's there.
Yeah. She'd fucking fall and breaks her hip.
I would be so happy if she fell over. Maybe she was trying to, and then she like sue us.
Yeah,
but I could not believe it. Like, imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was like, beware of dog, and I just moved that sign out of the way and then got attacked by the dog. You know what I mean?
Get out of the way.
I could not believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. So, some people just don't think though.
I just, it's like, this wet floor sign's in my way. I better move it out of the way.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to knock into it. Just go around it.
People, I don't know. People are so caught up in their own world.
Blew my mind. I think. And she was with her husband, and her husband didn't do anything about it either.
Yeah.
Like, they both were just like, yeah, that's a normal thing to do. If something's in your way, move it.
Yeah.
Even if it is cautioning people to not slip over.
An immovable object meets an unstoppable force.
God, I wish she slipped over.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have helped. I would have just laughed. Just fuck her. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe that, I don't know, that someone would just, and not put it back. That's the thing that gets me.
Not put it back. Fair enough, you moved out of the way so you could, if there was something, she couldn't go around it, then put it back. But she just folded up and leaned it against the wall and then walked off. And I was like, what are you doing? So then I very attitudely opened it up really aggressive, put it back down with a bit of like, no.
Did she look back?
Nah, she didn't look back.
She probably had a hearing aid out or something.
Yeah, she's probably fucking too busy slipping over.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. So that was the 2 things I saw at work that were very strange.
You sure that was a person, or like a hag raven or something like that?
And a boggart.
A boggart. Speaking of boggarts, can you imagine, like, you know how the way to beat a boggart in Harry Potter is like, oh, think of something that isn't scary and make it silly. The weakness to a boggart is laughing at it.
Yeah.
What if you just envisioned the boggart shooting itself? Like Neville's there. Neville's there facing the boggart. Professor Snape comes out. He's like, oh, quick, Neville, now, do it. And then he just goes, casts a spell, and then instead of Severus Snape turning into like getting his nan's clothing on him or whatever, he just pulls out a Glock and then shoots himself and his brain explodes.
The classroom would just be in shock.
Whispers from the void.
That reminds me of a story, actually. Completely. Well, it has nothing to do with what we've been talking about.
Is this some whispers from the void?
This is a story from my past that I try not to think about too much.
Pulling it straight from the pensive.
Yeah, that's right. So let me just take you back on a trip through pensive memory lane, memory pensive. This was back in maybe like 2018, I think. Yeah. This is like pre-pandemic.
True.
Yeah, before our time that we crossed paths.
Cross streams.
But it was in Japan, and I went to Japan with my dad. This is the first time I'd ever been overseas. It was very cool. It was very cool.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Japan's sick.
This would be the first time I'd seen my dad in person in like 3 years as well.
And you went to Japan together?
And we went to Japan.
True.
So
because he's like, he works in the mines and stuff.
Yeah. And we go to Japan. First 4 or 5 days is really good. So it was an amazing experience, a great country.
Yeah.
But the problem with this country is the problem with this bloody country
Japanese.
is there's not enough bloody fiber in their food.
Okay.
And so
Right.
we're like 5 days into this trip,
That is a problem.
and there had not been a lot of movement going on. There was not a whole lot of movement
No,
back there.
No movement back
there was
there.
not a lot was happening at all.
Yeah, right.
And so I'm not starting to stress, but I'm like, I should probably, there should probably be some movement. I'm
Yeah,
looking like I'm about 4 months pregnant at this point.
We're getting real bloated. Really?
No,
Jesus.
no, that's for dramatic effect. But I wasn't feeling great.
Yeah.
So it was about like 11 p.m. and everywhere is open super late in Japan. But we start wandering around looking for a pharmacy, and we end up finding a place. And my dad comes with me against my better judgment. And we're in there. We're trying to look for something, some pill, but everything's in Japanese because it's Japan. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what my dad does is he goes up to the pharmacist, the first pharmacist he sees, and just starts to like try and explain in broken English what is happening. And I'm standing right next to him.
That's a tough thing to mime.
Well, he does. He does try to attempt to mime it, and he did not do a very good job.
True.
He goes to this pharmacist and he's like, my son, and like holds his like stomach with his hand. He's like, my son, my son's stomach, my son needs to poo. Like my son needs to poo. And this guy's standing there like, what are you talking about? And then starts like gesturing with his hand, like explosive gestures, like out his ass, like my son needs to poo. And this guy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so I say to my dad, I'm like, Dad, just Google Translate, man. Google Translate.
Yeah.
And so he gets out Google Translate, hits the record button on Google Translate, voice, rather than just typing it, uses his voice. And he's like,
Awesome.
my son needs to poo.
But he didn't use broken English into it.
He did. Yeah.
Into Google Translate.
And then shows this guy once it's translated. And I'm standing next to my dad and he reads it. His eyes light up like, oh, and then looks at me and he's like, oh, you. And I was like, yeah, me.
Yeah, I'm his son.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
me.
Need to shit.
And yeah, he immediately goes over and he's like, oh, here, take these. Gives me like 100 pills. I didn't even know you could get 100 constipation pills, but
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like a massive sachet. He's like,
constipated people in Japan.
yeah. And he's like, take 2 of these.
Damn.
And you should be fine. And I was like, thanks, bro. So we go back to the hotel. I take 2. I'm waiting maybe like an hour, waiting for something to happen. Nothing happens. So I was like, what do I do? What if I just take 2 more?
Oh,
Why just take 2 more
good
of these?
idea. In any drug situation, when nothing's happening, you never take 2 more.
Yeah, well, that's what losers say. That's what losers say. Winners take 2 more. They double down.
Nerds say maybe.
Yeah, I was like double or nothing, double or poop my pants.
Damn.
So
So,
I
you've got 4 in you right now.
Yeah, and well, not right now, but yeah, at that time.
At that time.
Yeah, and nothing happens for the rest of the night, and I'm like, oh, whatever. So I go to bed. Wake up the next morning, still nothing. So I'm like,
That's
all right.
good. Thank God.
Yeah, didn't shit my bed. Thank God.
Yeah.
So I popped 2 more in that morning. I was like, let's get this moving. Come on, let's go.
6.
But I should have thought ahead of time that we were actually going to be catching a bullet train from Tokyo to Kyoto that day. And it was early in the morning. So we get on this bullet train, futuristic as fuck. It felt like I was on Star Trek. The doors like
That's cool.
split and go up and shit. It was really cool.
Field. Yeah. So you need to shit.
Beam me up. Beam me to Kyoto.
Your vital signs suggest.
Suggest you're highly bloated right now. And we're probably on there for like half an hour, and I'm like, and then it just hits me. I'm like,
No. The worst place. On a train, I can think of a worse place to take a shit.
Well, Japanese train, thank God. So
Sure,
it's like
okay,
a 5-star hotel, basically.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh God, I gotta go. So I'm like pushing people out. It's like Train to Busan. I'm like, no, get out of the way.
Toilet.
You don't understand.
No.
You don't know what's going on here. Get out of the way. Not really. I get up calmly and step up and I walk over.
Waddle over.
Yeah, I waddle over to the toilet like I'm nursing an egg or something like that. And I go in. It's a beautiful toilet too. It's like properly 5 stars.
it a
It's
bidet?
a throne. Yeah, bidet and everything.
Nice. Fuck yeah.
The whole kit and caboodle.
That's it.
And so I go in there, I do my business, exercise a demon in there, like just completely used all, this.
You shall pass.
Yeah. And 15, 20 minutes go by. I'm in there for a long time. And I finally, the deed is done. The demon is exercised. All 5 senses have been stimulated. I can see it. I can hear it. I can smell it. I can taste it. And it
would have been hot in there.
Yeah, I get up, I go to flush, and you know how they say don't look into a person's eyes like when you kill them because you'll remember, it'll haunt you forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same in this situation. And I looked into the bowl and it is a sight that I will carry with me to my grave. But I see it, I flush it, I try and forget that it happened.
Did it went down all good? There was
no. No. This thing left a mess. There was no scrubber. There was nothing. But at this point, I'd been in there for like 20 minutes and I was like, there's nothing I can do here except
There's a
leave.
whole chicken in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's where that went. That's where my keys. And so I'm like, I just got to get out of here. So I open the door and there is a line. There's like a line of like 10, maybe 15 people waiting for the toilet.
The worst.
And I've been in here for ages just brewing this thing. And there's no air freshener or anything either. So I was like, oh, fuck, this is so embarrassing. So I get up and I just go to leave. And these 2 lovely little Japanese ladies, these old women, kind of like peer into there, say something to each other, like sneer, like, oh, Jesus, like, what the fuck was that? And then they look at me and they point at me and they're like, that's fucking disgusting. I imagine that's what they said. They were speaking Japanese. And I just like, my head went down and I was just like, I just got to keep my head down for the rest of this bullet train trip. Yeah. And we got to Kyoto. All was fine, but that was a horrifying experience in Japan.
That's filthy.
It was absolutely horrible. And I felt bad enough as it was because, Japan is quite a xenophobic country and I didn't want to give them any more reasons to hate.
It's very true.
Like Westerners than they already have.
Yeah. If you're American, you should have went out there and put on your American voice and been like, and then, like push the blame onto America, bro. Yeah. Don't fucking bring that to
Sorry, I just gave you a giant dump of freedom. You're welcome. I remember when we first got off the train from the airport to Tokyo, there was this guy there in like a full suit minus the suit jacket and like leather fingerless gloves. This Japanese bloke,
like Yakuza looking, like
I don't know. He just looked like a business
had a
man.
dragon mask.
Yeah,
on.
he had a giant fucking tattoo on it. No, he was like Mike Tyson. But yeah, he was like standing there, and this is like completely. This is word for word. Exactly. This is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to preface this because it seems like such
a crazy story. Yeah.
Unreasonable story for it to happen. But we get off, we like grab our luggage off the train and we're getting off and we're like walking away from the train. And this guy calls out back to us because I saw he was like staring at us and I was like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And as we're walking off, he's like shouts at us. And he's like, hey. And we're like, what the fuck? And we like turn around. He's like, are you guys American? Shit. And we were like, no, we're Australian. Yeah. And then he's like,
mate, really put it on.
Really, sorry, mate. Yeah, we're bloody Australian, aren't we?
Australian, isn't it?
And his scowl that he had, he was looking really angry. His scowl turned to like happiness, like a happy face. And he gives us a thumbs up and he goes, okay.
Fucking
and we leave.
God.
Yeah, so I don't know what he was planning to do with those fingerless leather gloves, but
yeah, shit.
It honestly seemed like he was like waiting for an American to bash off the train.
American in, damn.
Which seems very un-Japanese like. It doesn't seem very polite at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ended up bashing an American that day, but
damn. Your toilet story reminds me of a story that I have.
Go on.
I haven't told this story before. You might be the only person that knows it. Because you were a part of it.
I was a part of this story.
Yeah, which is pretty gross to think about. So I worked on a TV show for a little bit, about 5 weeks. I worked on this TV show.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know where this is going, isn't it? And at the end of the 5 weeks, you have a wrap party.
Yeah.
And I'm at this wrap party with, the heads of departments and We're all drinking and being very, very drunk.
Yeah.
Very drunk. And I go to the bathroom because I've been drinking a lot. So I go to the bathroom to take a piss, as you would. And I take a piss. Sorry, Frank's just climbing all over me, as he does. Yeah, we're waiting for you, Frank. There you go. I was waiting in line to take a piss. And I get into the bathroom, get into the cubicle.
Yeah.
Very intoxicated. And I have an absolute battle with my belt to try and get this belt off. I'm in there. I'm trying to, holding this piss in,
Bladder
fighting for my
bursting.
life, bladder bursting, fighting for my life to get this fucking belt off. And I couldn't get it off. And I pissed my pants.
What do you mean you couldn't get it off?
I couldn't get the belt off. I got off.
So you just gave up.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
just fighting
pretty
it.
much.
No.
It was rough. I absolutely battled this belt. Couldn't get the belt off. Pissed my pants. And
in
I remember
the middle of like the club.
in the middle of the club.
You
Well,
described it to me at the time as you just gave up. Like you were struggling more and more, being like, no.
Oh well.
And then you just let loose and you just stopped fighting the belt.
Yeah, I
and you
did. As
just
soon as I
let it
started
happen.
pissing, I was like, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, as soon as I started pissing, I was like, oh well. Took my hands off my belt and just stood there and just
that's-
pissed. Just stood there really pissed off that I was pissing
Yeah.
off. But anyway, so I did that, and then I
So I did that just so casually.
So I did
Anyway,
that. So I pissed my pants. And then I look to my right and there's a mirror. And I make eye contact with myself. And I'm just staring at myself while I'm urinating my own pants. And just think, fuck, this is a low moment. And just, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
God's sake.
It doesn't get honestly
no.
much lower than
I know,
pissing your
pissing your
pants
own
while
pants.
looking at yourself in the
Yeah,
mirror.
legit, you're pathetic. Just thinking all these horrible things. And like so drunk and just so sad now because I'm pissing myself. And then I get out, I rush past everyone, don't say goodbye to anyone, just fully leave the fucking club. Hopefully no one's saw me. I was wearing like black pants. There was no way they could have seen it.
Yeah.
The piss didn't stink because it was all water. It was fucking, you know what I mean? All just pure liquid, clear
Yeah.
piss. Run straight out of there. Ring my best mate at the time, Jackson Field, to pick me up.
It's me.
I was pretty intoxicated on the phone, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I opened the door to the passenger side and he's got a towel down because I obviously told him on the phone that I pissed myself.
You didn't tell me
then-
initially. You called me up and I genuinely
Oh, I
like
can't
this
remember
is
this.
like I thought something worse. I thought you'd been spiked and like something had happened.
Oh, really?
Because
Was
you
that
were like,
pretty bad?
you just got to pick me up, man. And I was like, why? What happened?
Really?
What happened? And you're like, look, and you're so drunk and like, you have to just pick me up. Bro.
So
Like,
clearly
you just have to pick
upset.
me up. And I was like, what did you do? And you're like, they left me, man. Like everyone left me. Like you got to pick me up. And I was like, fucking hell. I was like, what the hell happened? I was
my
freaking, I was
God.
like genuinely thought that like
Something bad.
something had
Yeah.
happened.
I got bashed or something.
Like you, or worse,
Yeah.
bashed and
fuck.
taken advantage of
Yeah,
or something. I
right.
don't know. I genuinely, I was like, fuck. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And then you told me,
Someone's pissed my pants.
yeah, someone took my pants off and then pissed them
Pissed in them
and put
then
them back on
gave
me.
them back to me. And somehow got the belt off and then put
Yeah.
the belt back on.
I was so
Damn.
concerned. And then you were like, I pissed my pants. And I was like,
Oh, okay, cool.
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And they opened the passenger side and just got a towel down for me like I'm a fucking dog.
Yeah.
Could climb in.
Up.
Uppy.
Uppies.
Got your
Seatbelt
belt on? Yeah, pretty bad. And then, yeah, took me home and threw me in the shower and had a shower.
Yeah. You were like, yeah, you can't even like tell I'm drunk. Like I'm pretty cognitive when I'm drunk. And I'm like driving there full sober while you're just talking to me. I'm
Joe
like,
dribbling
yeah,
piss and
this guy, it is very apparent this man is
is
intoxicated.
intoxicated. Yeah. I could probably drive right now.
Yeah.
Give me the wheel.
Pants pissed. That's one of
Yeah.
the tests that the police do. Step out of the vehicle and they
Yeah,
tap your
pants.
pants.
Just soaked.
Yeah. He's
Fuck,
pissed him.
yeah.
He's drunk.
Pretty bad.
You know how they say like there will be a point in your life where it is the last time your parents take you out of the car when you're asleep and put you in bed and all that. There is a last time you'll piss your pants and you hadn't found it till that point.
No.
You know, you would have been like maybe like what
Yeah.
6 or something and an accident happened and you're like, well, that's the last time that's going to happen. Little did Mitch know.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to me.
You haven't pissed your pants
No,
as
I
an
just-
adult?
No, I just wear nappies.
Still counts. Still counts, bro. Still
I think
counts.
it counts. Anyway, look, I got a 3:00 appointment with the king. He's something's happening with his blood needs purifying with leeches or something like
he's
that.
blocked
or-
up. He needs about 6 tablets in him.
Yeah,
I got
something
about-
going on with his constipation. I got to sort it out.
I've got 94 tablets that I've got to give him to him.
I got to get out of here. Look, thank you all for listening this far into the podcast. But it is time for you to pick up your staff, pick up your hat, and leave the Wizard's Tower. I don't know why I'm whispering. Get the fuck out of here.
Lightning strikes.
Leave.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.
Bye.
Farewell.
Don't piss your pants.
Yeah. Try not to. Yeah.
Or poop the toilet
Don't
on the
poop
bullet train.
Well, you can poop the toilet.
Well.
Try and keep the piss out of the pants and in the toilet.
Yeah.